In this video, you'll see how to build serverless applications with AWS Application Composer and Amazon CodeWhisperer. With these tools, you can visually design serverless applications, rapidly generate ready-to-deploy infrastructure as code, and leverage AI to accelerate development. We'll begin in Application Composer, where we'll visualize and design our serverless application. Let's create a new project. Let's select a folder for our new project. We'll select this CodeWhisperer demo folder, which is currently empty. Now we can begin building the application. Let's drag the Amazon API Gateway resource card to the Application Composer canvas. Let's bring up the Resource Properties pane. For this example, we'll configure 3 routes within our API Gateway API resource. The first route will use the GET method to get an item. The second route will use the PUT method to put an item in a DynamoDB table, which we'll create in a moment. The third route will use the delete method to remove the item. Let's save the changes. Now let's add a Lambda function for each of these routes. To do this, we'll need to bring the Lambda function resource card onto the canvas. We'll call the first function getItem. Let's specify the source path as well. For this example, we'll choose Python as the runtime. Let's save what we've done so far. Now we'll add 2 more functions. We'll call the second function putItem. Now we'll create a third function called deleteItem. The next resource we'll add is a DynamoDB table to host the data. We'll name the table and save the change. Next, we'll need to connect these resources. Let's connect the API Gateway GET route to the Lambda function getItem. Then we'll connect getItem to the DynamoDB table. We'll repeat these steps to connect the put and delete routes to their corresponding Lambda functions, and to connect the functions to the DynamoDB table. We can choose Arrange to align the cards on the canvas. Now that we've designed our serverless application, let's look at the code that Application Composer generated. We can view the template in the CodeWhisperer demo folder that we selected earlier. Application Composer has created the necessary resources based on our selections, including the paths, the rules, and the Lambda functions. It also has created a source folder where we can see the Lambda functions we created. Let's look at the getItem function. We can see that a Lambda handler function was also created. Let's open it. Let's remove the existing code and use CodeWhisperer to create the logic for the function. We'll write a comment to provide CodeWhisperer with the components needed to generate the code. CodeWhisperer is now generating code based on the comment. We'll accept the code by pressing the Tab key on our keyboard. Now that we have created the logic for getItem, let's repeat the process for the other 2 functions. Now that we have created the necessary Lambda function logic for our serverless application, let's prepare it for deployment using the SAM build command. The build was successful. Let's try to deploy the application right from the console. It can take a couple of minutes to deploy the application. The application has deployed successfully. Let's go to the API Gateway console and test the API. Here is the API created from the SAM app stack. Let's open it. All three methods we created have deployed successfully. Let's test the put method. We'll provide a path value and a query string for some of the item's attributes. Now we'll make the test call. We now see the status as 200, showing that an item was added to the table. Let's try to get the same item. We were able to successfully retrieve the item. Let's try to retrieve an item that doesn't exist to see the response. We got a 404 status because there's no data. Finally, let's test the delete method. As expected, the item was deleted. You've just seen how to build serverless applications with AWS Application Composer and Amazon CodeWhisperer. You can learn more about this topic in the description and links for this video. Thanks for watching. Now it's your turn to try.